Save my mommy, please. She's dying." At 3:14 a.m., those words exploded through Marcus Stone's phone, a child's voice shaking with raw terror. 6 years old, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. "There's blood everywhere. She won't wake up. The bad man hurt her really bad." Marcus hadn't spoken to anyone in 7 years. He'd buried himself alive after his son died. But this little girl knew his name, knew his number. And then she whispered the words that shattered his world. "Mommy said you're my real daddy. Please, I'm so scared. He might come back." Before you continue, drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this story travels. Now back to the story. Marcus grabbed the phone so hard the plastic creaked in his grip. "Say that again," he demanded, his voice rough from sleep and cigarettes. "Who is this?" "My name is Lily." The little voice cracked on a sob. "Please, mister. Mommy won't wake up. I shook her, but she just makes funny breathing sounds." Marcus was already on his feet, his heart slamming against his ribs. "Lily, where's your mom right now?" "In the kitchen, on the floor." Another sob. "There's red stuff coming from her head. I tried to wipe it with a towel, but it keeps coming." Marcus's blood turned to ice. He yanked on his jeans with one hand, phone pressed to his ear. "Is anyone else in the house with you?" "No, Dante left." Lily's whisper dropped even lower. "He was yelling real loud. Then I heard Mommy scream, then everything got quiet." "Who's Dante?" "Mommy's boyfriend. He gets real mad sometimes." Lily sniffled. "He hits things. Sometimes he hits Mommy." Marcus felt rage building in his chest, hot and familiar, but he forced it down. This kid needed calm right now. "Okay, Lily, listen to me carefully. I need you to stay on the phone with me. Can you do that?" "Yes." "Good girl. Now tell me where you live." Lily rattled off an address that Marcus recognized immediately. The East Side. Broken streetlights, boarded windows, the kind of neighborhood where police took their time responding to calls. "I'm coming to get you," Marcus said, grabbing his leather jacket. "I'll be there in 15 minutes. "Promise?" That single word, so small and hopeful, hit Marcus like a fist to the gut. "I promise." He was halfway out the door when Lily's next words stopped him dead. "Mommy said if something really bad happened, I should call this number. She keeps it in her special box with pictures of you." Lily paused. "She said you're my daddy. My real daddy. Is that true?" Marcus couldn't move, couldn't breathe. "What did you say?" "Mommy showed me your picture. She said before I was born you had to go away, but she kept your number just in case." Lily's voice trembled. "Are you really my daddy?" Marcus's mind raced backward through the years. 7 years ago, right after Tyler's funeral. He'd been drowning in grief and whiskey, and there had been a woman. Rachel. Blonde hair, kind eyes, the only person who could make him stop crying about his dead son. They'd been together for 2 months. Maybe 3, and then he'd disappeared without a word running from his pain. Could it be possible? "Lily?" His voice came out strangled. "How old are you?" 6. "My birthday was last month. Mommy made me a chocolate cake." 6 years old. The math hit Marcus like a sledgehammer. "Stay where you are," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "Hide somewhere safe, and don't hang up. I'm on my way." Marcus drove like the devil himself was chasing him. His truck screamed through empty streets, running red lights, taking corners so hard the tires squealed in protest. The whole time he kept Lily on the phone, listening to her frightened breathing. "Are you still there, Lily?" "Yes." Her voice was barely audible. "I'm under Mommy's bed. Dante doesn't know about this hiding spot. That's real smart of you. You're a brave girl. I don't feel brave. I feel scared. Marcus's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared, kiddo. It means you do what needs to be done, even when you're terrified. Silence. Then, is that what you do? Be brave when you're scared? Marcus thought about all the years he'd spent running from everything that mattered. All the fights he'd picked because it was easier than facing his pain. All the people he'd hurt because he was too broken to let anyone close. Sometimes, he admitted. Sometimes I'm just scared. Me too. He pulled onto Lily's street, and his stomach dropped. The neighborhood was exactly as bad as he'd remembered. Worse, maybe. Half the houses were dark and abandoned. The few that weren't had bars on the windows and doors. I'm outside, Marcus said. I'm going to hang up now, but I'll be inside in 10 seconds. Okay. Marcus killed the engine and jumped out. His boots pounded up the cracked walkway, and that's when he saw her. Lily stood on the porch, a tiny figure in unicorn pajamas stained with blood. She clutched a worn, stuffed elephant to her chest, and her face was streaked with tears. She looked up at him with eyes that were unmistakably his own. Dark brown, almost black, with gold flecks that caught the dim porch light. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Lily ran forward and threw her arms around his legs, holding on like he was the only solid thing in her world. You came, she whispered. You really came. Marcus stood frozen, his hands hovering uselessly in the air. He hadn't held a child since Tyler. Hadn't let himself get close enough to anyone to try. But something about this little girl's desperate grip broke through his walls. He knelt down slowly and wrapped his arms around her small, trembling body. I'm here, he said roughly. I've got you. Where's your mommy? Lily grabbed his hand and pulled him through the front door. Her tiny fingers felt impossibly fragile, wrapped around his scarred knuckles. In the kitchen. I tried to help her, but I didn't know what to do. Marcus followed her through a dark living room littered with overturned furniture and broken glass. His combat boots crunched on debris with every step. And then he saw Rachel. She lay crumpled on the kitchen floor, her blonde hair matted with blood. A gash above her temple still oozed, and bruises were already forming on her face and arms. Broken plates scattered across the linoleum around her like shrapnel. Oh, Jesus, Marcus breathed. He dropped to his knees beside her, pressing 2 fingers to her throat. Her pulse was there, weak but steady. Her breathing was shallow but regular. Is Mommy going to die? Marcus looked up at Lily, who stood in the doorway with tears streaming down her cheeks. She clutched her stuffed elephant so tight her knuckles were white. No, sweetheart. Your mommy's going to be okay. He pulled out his phone and dialed 911. We're going to get her some help right now. As he gave the dispatcher the address and described Rachel's injuries, Lily crept closer. She knelt down next to him and took her mother's hand. Mommy, wake up, she whispered. I found Daddy, just like you told me to. Something inside Marcus cracked open at those words. This little girl had called him Daddy, had trusted him to save them, and he still didn't know for certain if he deserved that title. But looking at her face, at those eyes that mirrored his own, he felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Hope. The paramedics arrived in a blur of sirens and flashing lights. Marcus stood back as they loaded Rachel onto a stretcher, barking medical terms he didn't understand. Lily pressed herself against his side, refusing to let go of his hand. Sir, are you family? One of the paramedics asked. Before Marcus could answer, Lily spoke up. He's my daddy, she said firmly. My real daddy. The paramedic glanced at Marcus, who nodded slowly. "Yeah," he heard himself say. "I'm her father." The words felt strange in his mouth, foreign. But Lily beamed up at him like he'd just given her the greatest gift in the world. They followed the ambulance to the hospital in Marcus's truck. Lily sat in the front seat, still clutching her elephant, watching the flashing lights ahead of them. "What's your elephant's name?" Marcus asked, trying to keep her distracted. "Mr. Trunk." Lily stroked the worn fabric. "Mommy gave him to me when I was a baby. She said he would protect me when she couldn't." Marcus's throat tightened. "Your mommy sounds like a good person." "She is." Lily's voice dropped. "She just picks bad boyfriends. That's what Grandma used to say before she went to heaven." "How long has Dante been around?" "I don't know, a while." Lily's face darkened. "He was nice at first. He bought me ice cream and took us to the park. But then he changed." "Changed how?" Lily was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. "He started yelling a lot, breaking things. Mommy would tell me to go to my room and lock the door." She hugged Mr. Trunk tighter. "Sometimes I could hear her crying through the walls." Marcus's hands clenched on the steering wheel. He knew men like Dante, had been one himself in some ways. Men who used their fists because it was easier than using their words. Men who broke things because they were too broken themselves to build anything. "Did he ever hurt you?" Marcus asked carefully. Lily shook her head. "Mommy wouldn't let him. She always got in the way." Of course she did. Rachel had taken the beatings to protect her daughter. Marcus felt a mix of admiration and fury that made his vision blur. "That's never going to happen again," he said quietly. "I promise." Lily looked up at him with those impossible eyes. "You keep saying that, promising things." She tilted her head. "But how do I know you won't go away again like before?" The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. This 6-year-old girl had already learned that people leave, that promises get broken, that hope is a dangerous thing. "I don't know how to prove it to you, Lily," he said honestly, "except by being here, day after day, until you believe me." Lily considered this for a moment. "Okay," she said finally. "But if you break your promise, Mr. Trunk is going to be very disappointed." Despite everything, Marcus felt his lips twitch. "I'll try not to disappoint Mr. Trunk." The hospital waiting room was harsh and cold, all plastic chairs and fluorescent lights. Marcus sat with Lily curled up against his side, her head resting on his arm. She'd finally fallen asleep, exhausted from fear and tears. Her stuffed elephant was sandwiched between them. He stared at the wall, his mind racing. A daughter. He had a daughter. The thought kept circling in his head, impossible to process. He'd spent 7 years convincing himself he was done with family, done with love, done with anything that could hurt him the way losing Tyler had. And now this little girl had crashed into his life like a wrecking ball, demolishing every wall he'd built. "Mr. Stone." Marcus looked up. A tired-looking doctor stood in front of him, clipboard in hand. "That's me." "Ms. Bennett is stable. She has a concussion, 2 cracked ribs, and multiple contusions, but she's awake and asking for her daughter." Relief flooded through Marcus so hard his knees almost buckled. "Can we see her?" The doctor nodded. "Room 317. Keep it brief. She needs rest." Marcus carefully lifted Lily, who stirred but didn't wake. He carried her down the hallway, her small body warm and light in his arms. Rachel looked up when they entered, her face battered, but her eyes sharp. "Marcus," she breathed. "You came." "She called me." Marcus nodded toward the sleeping child. "Said you told her to." Rachel's eyes filled with tears. I never thought. I didn't know if the number still worked. If you'd even answer. I almost didn't. Marcus laid Lily gently in the chair beside Rachel's bed. But something about a scared kid in the middle of the night. I couldn't ignore it. Rachel reached out and touched Lily's hair with trembling fingers. She's yours, Marcus. I know I should have told you, but by the time I found out I was pregnant, you were gone. No forwarding address, no way to reach you. Why didn't you try harder? The question came out harsher than he intended. Rachel flinched. I did try. For months. But you didn't want to be found. She met his eyes. And honestly, part of me was afraid. You were so broken after Tyler. I didn't know if you could handle another child. Marcus looked at his daughter's sleeping face, at the tear tracks still visible on her cheeks, at the bloodstains on her unicorn pajamas. You're right, he said quietly. I probably couldn't have handled it then. I could barely handle myself. And now, Marcus was silent for a long moment. I don't know, he admitted. But I'm here. That's got to count for something. Rachel reached out and took his hand. Her grip was weak but steady. It counts for everything, she whispered. To both of us. Lily woke up as the first gray light of dawn crept through the hospital windows. She blinked, confused for a moment, then saw Rachel awake in the bed beside her. Mommy. She scrambled up and threw herself carefully against Rachel's uninjured side, sobbing with relief. I was so scared. There was so much blood. I thought you were going to die. Rachel stroked her daughter's hair, tears streaming down her own face. I'm okay, baby girl. I'm okay. You saved me. No. Lily pulled back and pointed at Marcus, who stood awkwardly by the window. He saved us. Daddy came. Rachel and Marcus locked eyes over their daughter's head. So much unspoken between them. So much history and hurt and possibility. Yes, he did, Rachel said softly. Daddy came. Marcus felt something shift inside him, something fundamental and terrifying. He had a family again. Broken and unexpected and complicated but real. And for the first time in 7 years, he wasn't sure if he wanted to run. Got to a tongue. The police arrived an hour later. 2 detectives, a man and a woman with badges and notepads, and too many questions. Ms. Bennett, can you tell us what happened last night? Rachel's hand tightened on Lily's. Dante came home drunk. We got into an argument about money. She swallowed hard. He lost his temper. Has this happened before? Rachel was silent for a long moment. Yes. The female detective leaned forward. Why didn't you report it before? Because I was scared. Rachel's voice cracked. Because he said if I ever told anyone he'd hurt Lily. Because I had nowhere else to go. Marcus felt his fists clench. The old rage was rising again, hot and demanding. He wanted to find Dante Vega and make him pay for every bruise on Rachel's face. But he stayed where he was, for Lily's sake. Mr. Vega is currently in custody, the male detective said. He was picked up trying to cross the state line. He'll be charged with assault and battery. Will he get out? Lily's small voice cut through the adult's conversation. Will he come back? The detectives exchanged glances. He might make bail, the woman admitted. But we'll make sure you're protected. Marcus stepped forward. I'll make sure they're protected. The detectives looked at him, taking in his size, his tattoos, the dangerous glint in his eyes. And you are the child's father. Something in his voice made both detectives decide not to push further. After the police left, Marcus sat down beside Rachel's bed. We need to talk. Rachel nodded wearily. Lily had fallen asleep again, worn out by the morning's events. I know we do. I can't just walk away from this. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. From her. Whatever happened between us, she's my daughter. She called me for help. I can't pretend that didn't happen. What are you saying? Marcus looked at Lily's sleeping face, at the thumb she'd tucked into her mouth, at the peaceful expression that had replaced the terror of last night. I'm saying I want to be in her life, however that works, whatever I need to do. Rachel's eyes filled with tears again. Marcus, you have to understand. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to be recovering for weeks. Dante's going to be a problem even from jail. And you... She hesitated. You have your own demons to deal with. I know. Do you... Because the man I knew 7 years ago could barely take care of himself. He was drinking himself to death and starting fights every night and running from anything that looked like commitment. I know, Marcus said again, quieter this time. I was that man. Maybe I still am in some ways. But that little girl looked at me tonight with my own eyes and called me Daddy. And I felt something I haven't felt since Tyler died. What? Like, maybe I'm supposed to be here. Like maybe all the bad stuff I've been through was leading to this moment. Rachel was quiet for a long time. She needs stability, she finally said. Consistency. Someone who's going to be there every day, not just when things get dramatic. I understand. Do you? Because if you walk into her life and then walk out again, it will break her. She's already had too many people leave. Marcus leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. I'm not going to lie to you, Rachel. I don't know how to be a father. I barely knew how with Tyler, and I was there from the beginning. But I know how to fight for things that matter. I know how to show up even when it's hard. And I know, his voice caught, I know that little girl deserves better than what she's had. Rachel studied his face for a long moment. Okay, she said finally. Okay, we'll try. But Marcus... She waited until he met her eyes. If you hurt her, I don't care how big you are or how scary your reputation is. I will destroy you. Despite everything, Marcus almost smiled. Understood. Marcus stepped out of Rachel's room to get coffee and found himself face to face with a man in the hallway. Dante Vega stood 10 feet away, his eyes bloodshot and his clothes rumpled. He must have made bail faster than anyone expected. So you're the deadbeat daddy, Dante sneered. Rachel's been crying about you for years. Marcus Stone, the ghost who left her pregnant and alone. Marcus's body went rigid. Every muscle tensed for violence. You should leave, he said quietly. Or what? You'll hit me. Dante laughed. Go ahead, give me a reason to press charges. We'll see how fast that custody case falls apart when you're back in jail. Marcus's fists clenched at his sides. The old instincts screamed at him to throw the first punch, to show this piece of garbage what happened to men who beat women. But then he heard it. Lily's voice small and scared from inside the room. Mommy, what's that noise? And just like that, the rage drained away. I'm not going to hit you, Marcus said evenly, no matter how much you deserve it. Dante's smirk faltered. That little girl in there. Marcus stepped closer, lowering his voice. She's my daughter, and I'm going to spend every day making sure she's safe and loved. You're going to prison. And when you get out, if you ever come near them again, I won't need to throw a punch to destroy you. I'll do it the legal way, the slow way, and you'll wish I'd just hit you instead. Dante's face twisted with rage. You think you're so tough. You're nothing but a washed-up biker thug. The courts will never give you custody, not with your record. Maybe, Marcus said, but I'm going to fight for her anyway, because that's what fathers do. Security guards appeared at the end of the hallway, drawn by the tension. Dante backed away, pointing at Marcus. This isn't over, Stone. Not by a long shot. Yeah, it is, Marcus said quietly. You just don't know it yet. He watched Dante disappear around the corner, escorted by security. Then he went back inside to his daughter. Lily was awake, sitting up in the chair with Mr. Trunk in her lap. Was that Dante? She asked, her voice small. Yes. Is he going to hurt us again? Marcus knelt down so he was at her eye level. No, Lily. He's never going to hurt you or your mom again. I promise. Lily studied his face with those two old eyes. How do you know? Because I'm going to make sure of it. Whatever it takes. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she held out Mr. Trunk. He wants to say thank you. Marcus took the worn, stuffed elephant carefully, as if it was the most precious thing in the world. Tell Mr. Trunk he's welcome. Lily smiled for the first time since he'd met her. It was small and uncertain, but it was real. I think I'm going to like having a daddy, she said softly. Marcus looked at this little girl, his daughter, with her brave heart and her impossible eyes. I think I'm going to like being one. 3 days later, Marcus carried Lily's small suitcase up the stairs to his apartment. She followed behind him, clutching Mr. Trunk with one hand and gripping the railing with the other. Her eyes were wide, taking in every crack in the wall, every flickering light. Is this where you live, Daddy? Yeah, kiddo. It's not much, but it's home. He unlocked the door and pushed it open. The apartment was small, sparse, barely decorated. A worn couch, a television that was at least 10 years old, a kitchen that had seen better days. Lily walked inside slowly, her head turning this way and that. It's quiet, she said finally. Too quiet. No. She hugged Mr. Trunk tighter. I like quiet. Dante was always loud. Marcus felt that familiar rage flicker in his chest. He pushed it down. Well, it's just going to be you and me for a while. Your mom needs to rest and get better. Lily nodded seriously. I know. The doctor said her ribs are broken. That means she can't pick me up or hug me too tight. That's right. But you can hug me tight, right? The question caught Marcus off guard. He knelt down to her level. Yeah, Lily, I can hug you as tight as you want. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around his neck. Marcus held her carefully still, not quite believing this was real. I'm glad you're my daddy, she whispered against his shoulder, even if you weren't here before. Marcus's throat closed up. He couldn't speak. He just held her tighter. The first night was harder than Marcus expected. He gave Lily his bedroom and set himself up on the couch. She'd seemed okay at first, tired but calm, as he tucked her in with Mr. Trunk. But at 2 a.m., a scream ripped through the apartment. Marcus was on his feet before he was fully awake, his heart hammering. He burst into the bedroom to find Lily thrashing in the sheets, crying out in terror. No, don't hurt Mommy, please don't! Lily! Marcus grabbed her shoulders gently. Lily, wake up. You're safe. Her eyes flew open, wild and unfocused. For a moment, she didn't seem to recognize him. Then she threw herself into his arms, sobbing. He was hurting her again. There was blood everywhere. I couldn't make it stop. It was just a dream, baby girl. Just a bad dream. Your mommy's safe in the hospital and Dante can't hurt either of you anymore. Promise. I promise. But even as he said it, Marcus wondered if it was a promise he could keep. Lily cried herself back to sleep in his arms. Marcus didn't move for the rest of the night. The next morning, Marcus attempted to make breakfast. He stood in front of the stove, staring at the smoking pan like it had personally betrayed him. The eggs were black. The toast was charcoal. Even the orange juice somehow tasted wrong. Lily sat at the tiny kitchen table watching him with a mixture of amusement and concern. Daddy, yeah, I think the eggs are on fire. Marcus swore under his breath and yanked the pan off the burner. Smoke billowed toward the ceiling. Right, okay, new plan. He scraped the ruined eggs into the trash. How do you feel about cereal? Lily giggled. It was the first genuine laugh he'd heard from her, and it hit Marcus like a punch to the chest. Mommy burns eggs too sometimes, she offered kindly. It's okay. Yeah, well, Marcus poured 2 bowls of cereal and set one in front of her. I'm going to have to get better at this. Practice makes perfect, that's what my teacher says. Marcus sat down across from her, feeling completely out of his depth. Speaking of school, we need to figure out how to get you enrolled somewhere near here. Lily's face fell. I don't want to go to a new school. I want to go back to my old one. My friend Jenny is there. Your old school is too far away, kiddo. I can't drive you there every day and still make it to work. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. But Jenny's my best friend. She's the only one who knows about Dante. She helped me hide in the bathroom when I was scared. Marcus's heart cracked. This little girl had been dealing with things no 6-year-old should ever have to face. Tell you what, he said carefully. Let's visit your mom today and figure out the school stuff together. Maybe there's a way to make it work. Lily sniffled and nodded. Okay, Daddy. At the hospital, Rachel was sitting up in bed, looking stronger than she had 3 days ago. Her face was still bruised, but the swelling had gone down. Her eyes lit up when Lily ran to hug her. Careful, baby. Remember my ribs. I know, Mommy. Gentle hugs only. Lily climbed onto the bed and curled up against Rachel's uninjured side. Daddy burned the eggs this morning. Rachel looked at Marcus with raised eyebrows. Burned them? They were on fire, Lily added helpfully. I'm working on it, Marcus muttered. Rachel smiled, and for a moment she looked like the woman he remembered from 7 years ago, before life had beaten both of them down. Marcus, can we talk for a minute? Lily, honey, why don't you go ask the nice nurse if she has any coloring books? Lily looked between them suspiciously. Are you going to talk about grown-up stuff? Yes. Fine. She slid off the bed with exaggerated reluctance. But I want to know everything later. Once she was gone, Rachel's expression grew serious. How is she really? Marcus sat down heavily in the chair beside her bed. Nightmares. Bad ones. She woke up screaming last night, talking about blood and Dante hurting you. Rachel's face crumpled. I was so stupid, Marcus. I should have left him months ago, but I was scared and I had nowhere to go, and I thought maybe he'd change. That's not stupid. That's surviving. No. Rachel shook her head fiercely. Surviving would have been protecting my daughter. Instead, I let that monster into our home. I let her watch him hit me. I let her live in fear every single day. You got her out? No, she got herself out. She called you. A 6-year-old had to save her own mother because I was too weak to save myself. Marcus reached out and took her hand. Listen to me. Whatever happened before, it's over. Dante's in jail. Lily's safe. You're going to heal and we're going to figure this out. Yeah. Marcus met her eyes. I know I wasn't there before. I know I don't have any right to walk in now and act like I belong. But Lily's my daughter, and I'm not running this time. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. The doctor says I need at least 6 weeks to recover, maybe more. There's physical therapy and I can't work and I don't have anywhere to go when I leave here. Stay with me. The words came out before Marcus could stop them. What? Stay with me. Both of you. The apartment's small, but we'll make it work. Lily can have the bedroom, you can take the couch, and I'll figure something out. Marcus, I can't ask you to. You're not asking? I'm offering. He squeezed her hand. Let me do this. Let me be there for once. Rachel stared at him for a long moment. Why? She finally asked. Why now? After all these years, Marcus thought about the question, about all the time he'd wasted running from his pain. Because that little girl looked at me with my own eyes and called me Daddy, and for the first time since Tyler died, I felt like maybe I wasn't completely broken. Rachel was quiet for a long time. Okay, she said finally. We'll try. But Marcus, I know, if I mess this up, you'll destroy me. I was going to say thank you. She smiled weakly. But yes, that too. Marcus left the hospital with Lily's hand in his, feeling like his life had just changed direction completely. And then his phone rang. Is this Marcus Stone? A woman's voice, professional and clipped. Who's asking? Mr. Stone. I'm calling from Channel 7 News. We're doing a story about Dante Vega's arrest, and we understand you've recently claimed custody of a child connected to the case. Would you care to comment on your involvement with the Hells Angels motorcycle club? Marcus stopped walking. Lily looked up at him curiously. Who told you about me? Mr. Stone, public records show you have multiple assault charges and were a known member of... Marcus hung up. His hands were shaking. Tommy Walker called that afternoon. Marcus hadn't spoken to his old friend in over 2 years, but word traveled fast in their world. I heard about the kid, Tommy said without preamble, and the girlfriend, and the piece of garbage who put her in the hospital. Word gets around. Always does. Tommy paused. You need help. Marcus looked at Lily, who was sitting on the couch watching cartoons with Mr. Trunk in her lap. Yeah, he admitted. I think I do. I know a lawyer, family court specialist. She's good and she owes me a favor. I can't afford a lawyer. Let me worry about that. You just focus on taking care of that little girl. Tommy's voice softened. I know what she means to you, Marcus. After losing Tyler, I never thought you'd let yourself love anyone again. Marcus's throat tightened. I didn't plan on it. Best things never are planned. I'll have Sharon Chen call you tomorrow. Tommy, I don't know how to thank me by being the father that kid deserves. That's all the thanks I need. The line went dead. Marcus stared at his phone, feeling something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. Hope. He was starting to feel hope. That night, Lily insisted on helping Marcus make dinner. It was a disaster. The spaghetti was overcooked, the sauce came from a jar, and Marcus somehow managed to burn garlic bread despite following the instructions exactly. But Lily didn't care. She sat at the table with tomato sauce smeared on her chin, grinning from ear to ear. This is the best dinner ever, she announced. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You don't have to lie, kiddo. I'm not lying. She twirled more spaghetti onto her fork. At home, we never had dinner together. Mommy worked late, and Dante always ate in front of the TV. Marcus felt that familiar anger flare. He pushed it down. Well, we're going to eat dinner together every night, even if the food is terrible. Promise. Promise. Lily considered this. Can we have pizza sometimes when the cooking doesn't work? Marcus laughed. It surprised both of them. Yeah, Lily, we can have pizza sometimes. After dinner, Lily needed help with her homework. Marcus sat beside her at the kitchen table, staring at first-grade math problems, like they were written in a foreign language. Okay, so if Jenny has 5 apples and gives 2 to Sarah, how many does she have left? Lily counted on her fingers. 3. That's right, good job. She beamed at him, and Marcus felt his heart swell. Daddy, yeah, did you go to school? A long time ago. Were you good at math? Marcus thought about his childhood. The fights, the suspensions, the day he'd finally dropped out for good. Not really, he admitted. I wasn't good at much back then. But you're good at stuff now, right? I'm trying to be. Lily nodded seriously. Trying counts. That's what Miss Peterson says. Even if you don't get it right, trying counts. Marcus looked at his daughter, amazed by her wisdom. Your teacher sounds pretty smart. She is. She gives us gold stars when we try really hard. Lily paused. Daddy, do you think you'll get a gold star for trying to be a good daddy? Marcus's throat tightened. I hope so, kiddo. I really hope so. The nightmare came again at 3 a.m. This time Marcus was ready. He heard Lily's first whimper through the thin walls and was at her bedside before the screaming started. He gathered her into his arms, murmuring reassurances until her trembling stopped. He's coming back, she whispered. I can feel it. Dante always comes back. He's in jail, Lily. He can't hurt you. But what if he gets out? What if he finds us? Marcus held her tighter. Then he'll have to go through me. Promise. I promise. Lily was quiet for a moment. Daddy. Yeah. Can you sleep in here tonight, just in case? Marcus looked at the small bed, then at his daughter's terrified face. Scoot over, kiddo. He squeezed in beside her, his large frame taking up most of the mattress. Lily curled against his side, Mr. Trunk sandwiched between them. Daddy. Yeah. I love you. The words hit Marcus like a freight train. He couldn't remember the last time anyone had said that to him. I love you too, Lily. She was asleep in seconds. Marcus lay awake for hours watching her breathe. The lawyer called the next morning. Sharon Chen had a voice like steel wrapped in velvet. Mr. Stone Tommy Walker speaks very highly of you. He says you're trying to do right by your daughter. I am. Good. Because what you're up against isn't going to be easy. I've already done some preliminary research on your situation. Marcus tensed. And? Dante Vega's lawyer has filed a motion claiming you're an unfit guardian. They're citing your criminal record, your history with the Hells Angels, and your lack of involvement in your daughter's life until now. Marcus's stomach dropped. Can they do that? He's the one who put Rachel in the hospital. They can file whatever they want. Whether it sticks is another matter. But you need to understand Mr. Stone family courts prioritize stability for the child. Your record isn't good, and Dante's lawyer is going to use every piece of it against you. So what do? You prove you've changed. Anger management classes, parenting courses, therapy. And you keep your nose absolutely clean. One slip, one fight, one arrest, and they'll use it to take Lily away from you. Marcus looked at his daughter, who was watching him with worried eyes from the doorway. I'll do whatever it takes. I believe you. But fair warning, Mr. Stone, this is going to be the hardest fight of your life. Marcus hung up and forced a smile for Lily. Everything okay, Daddy? Everything's going to be fine, kiddo. I promise. But even as he said it, fear coiled in his stomach like a snake. That evening there was a knock at the door. Marcus opened it to find 2 reporters and a camera crew in the hallway. Mr. Stone, is it true you're seeking custody of a child despite having spent 3 years in prison for aggravated assault? The camera light blinded him. Mr. Stone, what do you say to allegations that you're an unfit parent? Mr. Stone, are you still affiliated with the Hells Angels? Marcus stepped back and tried to close the door, but a reporter's foot blocked it. The public has a right to know who's raising this child. Daddy! Lily's voice came from behind him, small and scared. Something in Marcus snapped. He grabbed the reporter by the collar and hauled him into the hallway. Get out! His voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of every fight he'd ever been in. The reporters scrambled backward. The camera crew kept filming. Marcus slammed the door and turned to find Lily staring at him with wide eyes. Daddy, you look scary. The words hit him like ice water. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to scare you. Who were those people? Nobody. Nobody important. But Lily wasn't fooled. They were asking about you. About bad things. Marcus knelt down to her level. Listen to me, Lily. I did some bad things a long time ago before you were born. Things I'm not proud of, but I'm trying to be better now. Because of me. Because of you. He touched her cheek gently. You make me want to be good. Lily considered this. Okay, she said finally. But maybe don't grab people like that anymore. It's really scary. I won't, Marcus promised. Never again. That night, the phone rang at midnight. Marcus grabbed it on the first ring, not wanting to wake Lily. Stone. Dante's voice dripped with venom. Did you like the reporters? That was just a taste. Marcus's blood ran cold. How did you get this number? I've got friends everywhere. Friends who tell me you're playing house with my woman and my kid. Lily's not your kid. She was never your kid. She will be when I'm done with you. I know people, Stone. Lawyers, judges. By the time my guys finish digging up your past, no court in the state will let you near that little girl. Marcus's hand tightened on the phone. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You think you can just walk in and take what's mine. You're nothing but a washed-up biker with a prison record. I'll destroy you and then I'll come for Rachel and Lily. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. The line went dead. Marcus sat in the darkness, his heart pounding. He'd spent years learning to control his anger, years walking away from fights, years proving he was more than his past. But in that moment, all he wanted was to find Dante Vega and end him. A soft sound made him turn. Lily stood in the doorway, her face pale in the moonlight. Was that Dante? Marcus nodded slowly. Is he going to take me away from you? No, never. Lily walked over and climbed into his lap. Daddy, please don't be scary again. I need you to be good. The lawyer lady said you have to be good or they'll take me away. Marcus wrapped his arms around her. I know, baby girl. I know. So no matter what Dante does, you have to stay calm. Like in the breathing exercises the doctor taught me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Despite everything, Marcus almost smiled. You want to teach me? Lily nodded solemnly. Close your eyes. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it. Now breathe out for 6 seconds. They sat together in the darkness, breathing in and out, father and daughter, learning to be calm. The next morning, a letter arrived. Marcus opened it with trembling hands. It was from the family court. A custody hearing had been scheduled for 3 weeks from today. Dante Vega, despite pending criminal charges, was formally requesting custody of Lily, claiming he was the more stable parental figure. Marcus read the words 3 times before they sank in. He had 3 weeks to prove he deserved to be a father. 3 weeks to fight for the only thing that mattered. And Dante Vega was going to do everything in his power to make sure he failed. Marcus stared at the court summons until the words blurred together. 3 weeks. He had 3 weeks to prove he wasn't the man he used to be. Daddy. Lily stood beside him, her eyes fixed on the letter in his hands. What does it say? Marcus folded the paper and shoved it in his pocket. Nothing important, kiddo. Just grown-up stuff. Is it about Dante? The question made Marcus's stomach clench. This child saw too much. Understood too much. Yeah, he admitted. It's about Dante. Is he trying to take me away? Marcus knelt down and took her small hands in his. He's trying, but I'm not going to let that happen, I promise you. Lily's chin trembled. But what if the judge believes him? What if she thinks he's better than you? Then I'll fight harder. I'll do whatever it takes. Even if it's really, really hard. Marcus pulled her into his arms. Even if it's impossible. Sharon Chen's office was small, but immaculate. Marcus sat across from her desk, his knee bouncing with nervous energy. Rachel had been released from the hospital that morning and was at the apartment with Lily. Mr. Stone, I'm going to be blunt with you. Sharon opened a thick folder. Your case is complicated. How complicated? Very. She spread several documents across her desk. Dante's lawyer has already subpoenaed your complete criminal record. 3 years in prison for aggravated assault, multiple arrests for battery, drug possession charges, association with known criminal organizations. Marcus's jaw tightened. That was a long time ago. The courts don't care about time, Mr. Stone. They care about patterns. Sharon leaned forward. Tell me about the assault conviction. Marcus closed his eyes. Bar fight. Guy was running his mouth about my son, about Tyler. Said he deserved what happened to him. His hands curled into fists. I lost control. How badly was he hurt? Broken jaw, shattered eye socket, internal bleeding. Marcus's voice dropped. I almost killed him. Sharon wrote something in her notes. And the other arrests? Fights, mostly. A few drug charges that got dropped. He met her eyes. I'm not going to pretend I was a good person back then. I wasn't. But I've changed. Can you prove it? I've been clean for 5 years, sober for 4. I held down a steady job at Tommy's construction company until last month. He hesitated. I quit to take care of Lily. That's going to look bad. Unemployed single father with a violent history. I'll get another job. Before the hearing. Marcus felt panic rising in his chest. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Sharon studied him for a long moment. Anger management classes. Twice a week starting tomorrow. Parenting courses. Weekly therapy sessions with a licensed counselor. And Mr. Stone, she fixed him with a hard stare. If you so much as raise your voice in public between now and that hearing, we lose. Understood. Understood. Good. She closed the folder. One more thing. Lily needs to see a child psychologist. The court will want an evaluation of her emotional state and her relationship with you. She's already having nightmares. I don't want to make things worse. I know. But this is non-negotiable. The psychologist's report could make or break your case. Marcus nodded slowly. I'll set it up. The anger management class met in a church basement. Marcus sat in a circle of folding chairs surrounded by men who looked just as uncomfortable as he felt. Some were young, barely out of their teens. Others were older, weathered by years of rage and regret. The counselor, a soft-spoken man named David, asked everyone to introduce themselves. When it was Marcus's turn, he cleared his throat. I'm Marcus. I'm here because I almost lost my daughter to a man who doesn't deserve her. And the only way to keep her is to prove I'm not the monster everyone thinks I am. Nobody laughed. Nobody judged. They'd all been monsters once. After the class, David pulled Marcus aside. You mentioned a daughter. How old? 6. And you've only recently come into her life. Marcus nodded. I didn't know she existed until 2 weeks ago. Her mother kept her from me. He paused. I don't blame her. I wasn't someone a child should be around back then. David studied him carefully. What changed? Marcus thought about Lily's face in the moonlight, about the way she said "Daddy," like it was the most natural thing in the world. She did. Everything changed when she called me. David handed him a card. I've been doing this for 20 years, Marcus. I've seen a lot of men come through these doors. Most of them are here because the court ordered it. They go through the motions and leave exactly the same as when they arrived. And the others? The others find something worth changing for. David smiled. I think you might be one of the others. Lily's appointment with the child psychologist was scheduled for Thursday. Marcus drove her there with his heart in his throat. She sat in the back seat, clutching Mr. Trunk like a lifeline. Daddy. Yeah, kiddo. Is the doctor going to ask me about Dante? Probably. What should I say? Marcus glanced at her in the rearview mirror. The truth, Lily. Just tell her the truth. Even the really bad parts. His grip tightened on the steering wheel. Even those. Lily was quiet for a moment. What if she thinks I'm broken? The question made Marcus's heart crack. You're not broken, baby girl. You're the bravest person I know. Really, really. The psychologist's name was Dr. Patricia Evans. She had kind eyes and a gentle voice, and she spent the first 10 minutes just talking to Lily about Mr. Trunk. Marcus waited in the outer office, his leg bouncing, his mind racing. What if Lily said something that hurt their case? What if she mentioned the times he'd lost his temper? What if she told the doctor about the night he'd grabbed that reporter? An hour later, Dr. Evans opened the door. Mr. Stone, could you join us? Marcus walked into the office to find Lily drawing at a small table. She looked up and smiled. I told Dr. Patricia about you, Daddy. She wants to ask you some questions. Dr. Evans gestured to a chair beside Lily. Mr. Stone, Lily has shared some very important things with me today. She's incredibly brave, and she speaks very highly of you. She does? Yes. Dr. Evans glanced at her notes. She told me about the night she called you, about how you came when she needed help, about the way you hold her when she has nightmares. Marcus felt his throat tighten. I'm just trying to be there for her. She also told me about some of her fears. Dr. Evans's voice grew serious. Lily is afraid that you'll leave, that one day you'll disappear just like you did before she was born. Marcus looked at his daughter. Lily, I told you I'm not going anywhere. I know, Daddy, but sometimes people say things they don't mean. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Dante said he loved us too, and then he hurt Mommy. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. I'm not Dante, I know. Lily's voice was small. No, but how do I know for sure? Marcus knelt beside her chair, taking her hands in his. Because I'm not going to stop showing up. Every single day. Even when it's hard. Even when I make mistakes. I'm going to be here, Lily. That's how you'll know. Lily searched his face for a long moment. Then she threw her arms around his neck. I believe you, Daddy. Dr. Evans watched them with a gentle smile. Mr. Stone, I'll be submitting my evaluation to the court next week. I just want you to know Lily clearly feels safe with you. That's going to count for a lot. The relief that flooded through Marcus was almost overwhelming. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We still have a long way to go. Rachel was waiting when they got home. She'd been getting stronger every day, though she still moved carefully because of her ribs. She wrapped Lily in a gentle hug. How did it go, baby? Good, Lily grinned. Dr. Patricia gave me a lollipop. That's wonderful. Once Lily was settled with her coloring books, Rachel pulled Marcus into the kitchen. Tell me the truth. How did it really go? Better than I expected. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. The doctor said Lily feels safe with me, that it's going to help our case. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. That's good. That's really good. Hey. Marcus touched her arm. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. She wiped her eyes. I spent so long being afraid. Afraid of Dante. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of what would happen to Lily if something happened to me. She looked up at him. "I never imagined you'd come back into our lives like this." "Neither did I." "Marcus, I need to ask you something." "Anything?" Rachel hesitated. "Why didn't you ever try to find me after you left?" The question hung in the air between them. Marcus was silent for a long moment. "Because I was a coward," he finally said. "After Tyler died, I couldn't face anything that reminded me of pain. And you, Rachel, you saw me at my worst. You knew how broken I was." He shook his head. "I convinced myself you were better off without me." "I wasn't. I know that now. But back then you were drowning." Rachel stepped closer. "I understand, Marcus. I do. But Lily spent 6 years without a father because you were too afraid to face your past." "I know. She needs you to be different now. She needs you to stay even when it's hard." Marcus met her eyes. "I'm not going anywhere. I swear to you." Rachel studied his face for a long moment. "I want to believe you." "Then believe me." The parenting class met on Saturday mornings. Marcus sat in a room full of nervous new fathers, feeling completely out of place. Most of them were decades younger, with babies on the way, and hope in their eyes. The instructor, a cheerful woman named Janet, asked everyone to share their biggest parenting challenge. When it was Marcus's turn, he cleared his throat. "I'm trying to raise a 6-year-old I just met. She's been through hell, and I don't know how to help her heal. I don't even know how to make a decent breakfast." The room fell silent. Then a young guy in the front row nodded slowly. "Man, at least you're trying. My dad split before I was born. Never looked back." "Mine too," another man added. "Same here." Marcus looked around the room, suddenly realizing he wasn't alone. These men understood what it meant to grow up without a father. And they were here because they wanted to break the cycle, just like him. After class, Janet handed him a stack of books. "Read these," she said. "They'll help." Marcus looked at the titles. "The Whole Brain Child," "How to Talk So Kids Will Listen," "Parenting from the Inside Out." "I'm not much of a reader." "Then learn to be." Janet smiled. "That little girl is counting on you." The confrontation came when Marcus least expected it. He was walking out of the grocery store, paper bags in both arms, when Dante stepped out from behind a parked car. "Well, look who it is. Daddy of the Year." Marcus froze. "Get out of my way." "Or what?" Dante moved closer, his eyes glittering with malice. "You'll hit me." "Please, give me a reason." "You're supposed to stay away from me. Restraining order." "I'm not within 100 feet of your apartment. We're just two guys having a chat in a parking lot." Dante smiled coldly. "Besides, I wanted to see the famous Marcus Stone up close, the man who thinks he can steal my family." "They were never your family." "Rachel was mine. Lily was practically my kid. And you—" Dante laughed. "You're just a ghost, a deadbeat who couldn't even stick around long enough to meet his own daughter." Marcus's hands tightened on the grocery bags. "Walk away, Dante." "What's the matter? Truth hurt." Dante stepped even closer. "You know what Lily told me once? She said she wished she had a daddy like other kids. She cried about it. And you know what I told her?" Marcus's jaw clenched. "I told her that her real daddy didn't want her, that he ran away because she wasn't good enough." The words hit Marcus like a knife to the gut. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Ask her yourself." Dante grinned. "That little girl spent years thinking her father abandoned her because there was something wrong with her. And you know what? She was right. There is something wrong. You." Marcus felt the rage building hot and familiar. His vision narrowed, his muscles tensed. Every instinct screamed at him to drop the bags and put Dante through the nearest windshield. But then he heard Lily's voice in his head. "Please don't be scary, Daddy. I need you to be good." He took a deep breath. "You're not worth it." Marcus walked past Dante, his shoulders rigid with restraint. "That's it," Dante called after him. "The great hellfire walking away. What happened to you? Stone prison make you soft." Marcus kept walking. "I'm going to destroy you," Dante shouted. "When this is over, you'll never see that kid again." Marcus didn't look back. He got in his truck, drove 3 blocks, and pulled over. Then he sat there, shaking his knuckles white on the steering wheel. He'd wanted to kill Dante. The rage was still burning in his chest, demanding release. But he hadn't. For Lily, he hadn't. That had to count for something. That night, Lily found him sitting alone in the dark. "Daddy, why are you awake?" Marcus looked up at his daughter standing in the doorway in her unicorn pajamas. "Just thinking, kiddo." Lily padded over and climbed into his lap. "Thinking about what? About whether I'm good enough." "Good enough for what? For you." Lily was quiet for a moment. "Daddy, can I tell you something? Anything. Before you came, I used to pray every night for a real daddy. Mommy said prayers don't always get answered, but I kept praying anyway." She looked up at him with those impossible eyes. "And then you came." Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. "Lily, I don't care what Dante says. I don't care what the mean reporters say. You came when I called." She touched his face gently. "That means you're good enough." Marcus pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. "I don't deserve you, kiddo." "Yes, you do." Lily yawned. "Can we go to sleep now? Mr. Trunk is tired." Despite everything, Marcus almost smiled. "Yeah, baby girl. Let's go to sleep." The preliminary hearing arrived faster than Marcus was ready for. He sat in the courtroom beside Sharon, his suit too tight, his heart pounding. Lily was with Rachel in the hallway, under strict instructions not to come inside unless called. The judge, a stern-faced woman named Eleanor Martinez, reviewed the files in front of her. "This is a preliminary hearing regarding the custody of Lily Bennett Stone, age 6. Mr. Stone is seeking full custody. Mr. Vega is contesting that petition." Dante's lawyer, a slick man in an expensive suit, stood up immediately. "Your Honor, my client believes the child's best interests are not served by placing her with a man who has a documented history of violence, criminal association, and substance abuse. Mr. Stone has served his time and completed his rehabilitation," Sharon countered. "He has been sober for 4 years and has no recent incidents of any kind." "No recent incidents." Dante's lawyer smiled. "We have footage from 2 weeks ago of Mr. Stone physically assaulting a reporter outside his home." Marcus's blood ran cold. The lawyer produced a tablet and pressed play. On the screen, Marcus grabbed the reporter by the collar and shoved him backward. Out of context, without sound, it looked exactly like what it was. Violence. "Your Honor, this footage clearly demonstrates that Mr. Stone has not changed his violent tendencies." "That reporter was harassing a 6-year-old child," Sharon shot back. "Mr. Stone was protecting his daughter." "By using physical force." Judge Martinez held up her hand. "Enough. I'll review the footage." She turned to Marcus. "Mr. Stone, do you have anything to say?" Marcus stood slowly. "Your Honor, I'm not going to pretend I've been perfect. That video shows exactly who I used to be. A man who solved problems with his fists." He took a deep breath. "But that man is trying to change. For his daughter. The only thing I was thinking about in that moment was getting those cameras away from Lily." "By grabbing someone?" "Yes, ma'am. And I regret it. I should have handled it differently." Judge Martinez studied him for a long moment. I'm going to need more time to review all the evidence. This hearing is continued until next week." She fixed Marcus with a hard stare. "Mr. Stone, I strongly advise you to avoid any further incidents between now and then. Am I clear?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Court is adjourned." Marcus walked out of the courtroom with lead in his stomach. Sharon caught up with him in the hallway. "That wasn't good. I know. The footage hurt us badly. If they have anything else, they won't. I've been clean." "You'd better be." Sharon's expression softened slightly. "Look, I know this is hard, but you need to keep it together for one more week. Can you do that?" Marcus looked down the hallway to where Lily was waiting with Rachel. "I don't have a choice." That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She came into the living room where Marcus was sitting, reading one of the parenting books Janet had given him. "Daddy?" "Yeah, kiddo." "Are you scared about the judge?" Marcus set down the book. "Yeah, I am." Lily climbed onto the couch beside him. "I'm scared too." "I know, baby girl." Lily reached into her pocket and pulled out Mr. Trunk. "I want you to have him." Marcus stared at the worn, stuffed elephant. "Lily, I can't take Mr. Trunk. He's yours." "I know, but he helps me when I'm scared." She pressed the elephant into his hands. "Maybe he can help you too. Just until the judge decides." Marcus looked at his daughter at the gift she was offering at the trust in her eyes. "Are you sure?" Lily nodded solemnly. "Mr. Trunk knows you're a good daddy. He told me." Marcus pulled her close, the stuffed elephant pressed between them. "I love you, Lily." "I love you too, Daddy." They sat together in the quiet apartment, father and daughter, waiting for a future neither of them could control. Marcus couldn't sleep the night before the final hearing. He sat on the edge of his bed, Mr. Trunk clutched in his hands, staring at nothing. Every mistake he'd ever made played through his mind on repeat. Every fight, every arrest, every time he'd chosen violence over reason. The bedroom door creaked open. "Daddy," Lily stood in the doorway, her hair messy from sleep. "What are you doing awake, kiddo?" "I heard you walking around." She padded over and climbed onto the bed beside him. "Are you thinking about tomorrow?" "Yeah." "Me too." Lily leaned against his arm. "What if the judge says no?" Marcus felt his chest tighten. "Then we keep fighting." "Forever, forever." Lily was quiet for a moment. "Daddy, can I tell you a secret? Anything. Sometimes I pretend that we've always been together. That you were there when I was a baby, and when I learned to walk, and on all my birthdays." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Is that weird?" Marcus's throat closed up. "No, baby girl. That's not weird at all." "I wish it was true." "Me too." He pulled her closer. "But we can't change the past. We can only make the future better." Lily looked up at him with those impossible eyes. "Promise we'll have a future together." "I promise." She fell asleep against his shoulder. Marcus held her all night, afraid to let go. The morning came too fast. Rachel was already dressed when Marcus emerged from the bedroom, Lily still rubbing sleep from her eyes. "How do I look?" Rachel asked, smoothing her blouse nervously. "Good. Professional." "I'm terrified, Marcus." "Me too." They stood there for a moment, two broken people trying to hold it together for the sake of one little girl. "No matter what happens today," Rachel said quietly, "I want you to know I'm glad you came back. Even after everything. Because of everything." She reached out and touched his arm. "You could have ignored that phone call. You could have walked away, but you didn't." Marcus covered her hand with his. "I couldn't walk away. Not from her." "I know." Rachel's eyes glistened. "That's why I believe you're going to win." Sharon met them outside the courthouse. Her expression was serious but not hopeless. "How are we looking?" Marcus asked. "Better than last week. I got the judge to review Dr. Evans' report. It's favorable." Sharon glanced at Lily, who was holding Rachel's hand. "But Dante's lawyer is going to push hard. They've subpoenaed additional witnesses." "Who? I don't know yet, but be prepared for anything." Marcus nodded grimly. "I'm ready." "No." Sharon fixed him with a hard stare. "You're not, but you're going to pretend you are. Keep your face calm, your voice steady, and for God's sake, don't react to anything Dante or his lawyer says." "Understood." Understood. The courtroom felt smaller than Marcus remembered. He sat at the defendant's table, his hands flat on the surface to keep them from shaking. Rachel sat in the gallery behind him with Lily, who clutched a new stuffed elephant they'd bought yesterday to replace Mr. Trunk. Dante sat across the aisle, looking smug in his expensive suit. His lawyer whispered something in his ear, and Dante smiled. That smile made Marcus's blood boil. "All rise." Judge Martinez entered and took her seat. Her face was unreadable as she shuffled through papers. "We are here today to determine custody of the minor child Lily Bennett Stone. I have reviewed all submitted evidence, including psychological evaluations, character references, and testimony from the preliminary hearing." She looked up. "Are both parties ready to proceed?" "Yes, Your Honor," Sharon said. "Yes, Your Honor," Dante's lawyer echoed. "Then let's begin. Mr. Stone, please take the stand." Marcus's legs felt like lead as he walked to the witness chair. The bailiff held out a Bible. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do." Dante's lawyer stood up immediately. "Mr. Stone, let's talk about your past." Marcus braced himself. "You were a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle club for how many years? 15. And during that time you were arrested how many times? I don't remember exactly." The lawyer pulled out a document. "I'll help you. 17 times. 17 arrests in 15 years. Battery, aggravated assault, drug possession, disorderly conduct." He looked up. "Does that sound accurate?" "Yes." "You served 3 years in state prison for nearly beating a man to death. Is that correct?" "Yes." "And you believe you're fit to raise a 6-year-old child?" Sharon stood up. "Objection. The question is argumentative." "Sustained." The lawyer smiled. "Let me rephrase. Mr. Stone, what makes you think a man with your history can provide a stable, safe environment for a child?" Marcus took a deep breath. "Because I'm not that man anymore." "Really?" The lawyer raised an eyebrow. "Then how do you explain this?" He pressed play on a tablet. The footage of Marcus grabbing the reporter filled the screen. "This was taken less than a month ago, Mr. Stone. You physically assaulted a journalist. Does that look like a changed man to you? He was harassing my daughter. So you responded with violence, just like you always have." "I was protecting her. By grabbing a man by the throat." "I didn't grab his throat. I grabbed his collar." "Oh, forgive me." "His collar." The lawyer's voice dripped with sarcasm. "That's so much better." Marcus felt his temper rising. He pushed it down. "I made a mistake. I should have handled it differently. A mistake. Like all your other mistakes." The lawyer stepped closer. "Mr. Stone, isn't it true that you abandoned Lily's mother when she was pregnant?" "I didn't know she was pregnant." "But you did abandon her. You disappeared without a word, left her alone." "Yes. And you never tried to find her, never tried to contact her." "No." "For 7 years." "Yes." "So we have a man who abandons women, commits violent crimes, spends years in prison, and only shows up when it's convenient." The lawyer turned to the judge. "Your Honor, This is not a father. This is a liability. Sharon stood. Your Honor, I'd like to redirect. Judge Martinez nodded. Go ahead. Sharon approached Marcus gently. Mr. Stone, why didn't you contact Rachel after you left? Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. Because I was broken. My son Tyler died in a car accident, and I couldn't handle the grief. I was drinking constantly, getting into fights, running from everything that reminded me of what I'd lost. And Rachel reminded you of that pain. She knew me during the worst time of my life. Being around her meant facing what happened to Tyler. I wasn't strong enough. What changed? Marcus looked at Lily sitting in the gallery with tears streaming down her cheeks. She did. When Lily called me that night terrified and alone, something broke open inside me. I realized I'd been given a second chance, a chance to be the father I should have been all along. And what steps have you taken to become that father? Anger management classes, parenting courses, weekly therapy. I've read every book I could find about raising children. His voice cracked. I know I can't change the past, but I can change the future. For her. Sharon nodded. No further questions. Tommy Walker took the stand next. He looked out of place in his suit and tie, but his voice was steady. How long have you known Mr. Stone? Sharon asked. Since we were kids. Grew up on the same block. And what can you tell us about his character? Tommy leaned forward. Marcus Stone is the most loyal man I've ever known. When I was trying to get my business off the ground, he worked for me for almost nothing because he believed in what I was doing. When my wife got sick, he was there every single day, helping with the kids, cooking meals, doing whatever needed to be done. What about his violent past? I won't pretend it didn't happen. Marcus did terrible things, but I've watched him fight to become someone better. I've seen him walk away from fights that the old Marcus would have started. I've seen him choose patience over anger over and over again. Tommy looked at the judge. That little girl changed him. I've never seen anything like it. Dr. Patricia Evans testified next. Dr. Evans, you've evaluated Lily extensively. What is your professional opinion of her relationship with Mr. Stone? Lily displays strong attachment behaviors toward her father. She feels safe with him. Protected. Dr. Evans glanced at her notes. In our sessions, she has repeatedly expressed fear of losing him. Not fear of him, but fear of him being taken away. And what about the trauma she's experienced? Lily shows symptoms consistent with childhood trauma from witnessing domestic violence. However, she has made remarkable progress since living with Mr. Stone. Her nightmares have decreased. Her anxiety levels have improved. She's beginning to heal. In your professional opinion, would removing Lily from Mr. Stone's care be harmful to her? Dr. Evans nodded gravely. It would be devastating. The bond they've formed is genuine and healthy. Disrupting that now could cause lasting psychological damage. Then it was Lily's turn. Marcus's heart nearly stopped as his daughter walked to the witness stand. She looked impossibly small, clutching her new stuffed elephant for comfort. Judge Martinez leaned forward. Lily, do you understand why we're here today? Yes, ma'am. You're deciding if I get to stay with my daddy. That's right. I'm going to ask you some questions and I need you to tell me the truth. Can you do that? Yes, ma'am. Good. Judge Martinez softened her voice. Lily, can you tell me how you feel about living with your father? Lily thought for a moment. Safe? What does safe feel like to you? It means nobody yells, nobody breaks things, nobody hurts Mommy. Lily's voice wavered. Before Daddy came, I was always scared. I had to hide in my closet when Dante got mad. I had to be really, really quiet so he wouldn't notice me. And now I don't have to hide. Daddy reads me stories and helps me with homework. When I have bad dreams, he makes hot chocolate and sits with me until I fall asleep. Tears spilled down her cheeks. He never gets mad at me. even when I spill things or make mistakes. Lily, what would you want to say to the judge about your father? Lily looked directly at Judge Martinez. Please don't take him away. I waited my whole life for a daddy, and now I have one. Her voice broke. Please let me keep him. Marcus couldn't breathe. Tears streamed down his face, and he didn't care who saw. Rachel testified last. Ms. Bennett, you kept Lily from Mr. Stone for 6 years. Why? Rachel's hands trembled in her lap. I was scared. Marcus was in such a dark place when we were together. He was drowning in grief and alcohol. I didn't think he could handle being a father. And now he's the best thing that ever happened to our daughter. Rachel's voice strengthened. I was wrong to keep her from him. I see that now. Marcus has become the father Lily always deserved. What about your relationship with Dante Vega? Rachel's face hardened. I made a terrible mistake. Dante seemed kind at first, but he was manipulative and cruel. By the time I realized how dangerous he was, I felt trapped. Did he ever hurt Lily? No. I made sure of that. Rachel's voice cracked. I took every hit, every beating so he wouldn't touch her. But I should have left sooner. I should have protected her better. And what do you want for Lily now? I want her to be happy and safe. I want her to have the father she deserves. Rachel looked at Marcus. I want her to stay with him. Dante's lawyer stood for cross-examination. Ms. Bennett, isn't it true that you have a history of poor judgment when it comes to men? Objection, Sharon called out. I'll allow it, Judge Martinez said. But tread carefully, counselor. The lawyer smiled. You chose to be with Dante Vega, a man who beat you repeatedly. You chose to be with Marcus Stone, a convicted, violent criminal. Perhaps your judgment about what's best for Lily isn't reliable. Rachel's jaw tightened. I've made mistakes, but I know my daughter. I've watched her with Marcus. She's happy. She's healing. That's not my judgment. That's the truth. Closing arguments came next. Dante's lawyer stood before the judge. Your Honor, this case is simple. Marcus Stone is a dangerous man with a violent history. He abandoned the mother of his child and spent years in prison for nearly killing someone. A few weeks of parenting classes doesn't erase that. Lily deserves stability, not a ticking time bomb who could explode at any moment. Sharon stood. Your Honor, Marcus Stone's past is not in dispute. But people can change. Every professional who has evaluated this case has concluded the same thing. Lily is safe with her father. She loves him, and he loves her. Taking her away would cause irreparable harm. Sharon's voice grew stronger. We don't get to choose where we come from, but we do get to choose who we become. Marcus Stone has chosen to become a father, a real father, and every piece of evidence supports his commitment to that choice. Judge Martinez gathered her papers. I've heard all the testimony and reviewed all the evidence. This is not a simple case. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Stone, your history is troubling. There's no denying that. Marcus's heart sank. However, Judge Martinez paused. I've also seen evidence of genuine change. Your therapist reports significant progress. Your anger management counselor says you're one of the most committed students he's ever had. And most importantly, the child at the center of this case clearly loves you and feels safe with you. Lily gripped Rachel's hand so tight her knuckles went white. I've thought long and hard about this decision, about what's truly in Lily's best interest. The courtroom was silent. It is my ruling that full custody of Lily Bennett Stone be granted to her father, Marcus Stone. For a moment, Marcus couldn't process the words. Then Lily's scream of joy pierced the air. Daddy! Daddy, we won! She broke free from Rachel and ran to him. Marcus caught her in his arms, lifting her off her feet, holding her so tight he thought his heart might burst. We won, kiddo! We won! I get to stay with you forever. Forever! Lily was crying and laughing at the same time. Marcus buried his face in her hair, tears streaming down his cheeks. Behind him, Rachel was sobbing with relief. Tommy pumped his fist in the air. Sharon allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. But across the aisle, Dante's face had gone dark with fury. He stood up suddenly, his chair scraping against the floor. "This is bull," he shouted. "That man is a criminal. He doesn't deserve that kid." "Mr. Vega, sit down," Judge Martinez ordered. "No, this whole thing was rigged. That little brat has been brainwashed." Two bailiffs moved toward him. "I'll get you for this stone." Dante's voice echoed through the courtroom. "This isn't over. You hear me? This isn't over." The bailiffs grabbed his arms and forced him toward the door. "I'll destroy you," Dante screamed. "You and that kid, I'll make you pay." The doors slammed shut behind him. Lily had buried her face in Marcus's shoulder, trembling. "Daddy, I'm scared." Marcus held her tighter. "Don't be. He can't hurt us anymore." "Promise. I promise." Judge Martinez banged her gavel. "Court is adjourned. Congratulations, Mr. Stone." They walked out of the courthouse into the afternoon sun. Lily held Marcus's hand on one side and Rachel's on the other. She hadn't stopped smiling since the verdict. "Does this mean we're a real family now?" she asked. Marcus looked at Rachel over their daughter's head. "Yeah, kiddo. We're a real family. Can we get ice cream to celebrate?" Despite everything, Marcus laughed. "We can get all the ice cream you want." Tommy caught up with them on the courthouse steps. "You did it, brother." He pulled Marcus into a rough hug. "I knew you would." "I couldn't have done it without you." "Yes, you could have. But I'm glad I got to help." Tommy ruffled Lily's hair. "You take care of this guy, okay? Make sure he eats his vegetables." "I will," Lily promised solemnly. Sharon joined them, her briefcase in hand. "Marcus, I need a word." They stepped aside while Rachel took Lily to look at a nearby fountain. "What is it?" Dante's threat. "I don't think it was empty." Sharon's expression was serious. "He's facing criminal charges for what he did to Rachel, but he made bail once before. He could do it again." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying be careful. Keep your doors locked. Vary your routine. And if you see him anywhere near you or Lily, call the police immediately." Marcus's jaw tightened. "If he comes near my daughter, the police won't be fast enough." "Marcus." Sharon put a hand on his arm. "Don't throw away what you just won. Stay smart. Stay safe." He nodded slowly. "I will." That night, they celebrated with pizza and ice cream in their small apartment. Lily sat between Marcus and Rachel on the couch, a movie playing on the television that nobody was really watching. "Daddy?" "Yeah, kiddo. I'm really happy." Marcus pulled her closer. "Me too, baby girl. Me too." Rachel reached across and squeezed his hand. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything." "I should be thanking you for giving me a second chance." "You gave yourself that chance. I just made the phone call." "No." Marcus shook his head. "Lily made the phone call. She saved all of us." Lily looked up with ice cream smeared on her chin. "I did. You did." Marcus wiped her face with a napkin. "You're the bravest person I know." "Even braver than you. Way braver than me." Lily grinned and snuggled deeper into the couch. Later, after she'd fallen asleep, Marcus carried her to bed. He tucked her in with Mr. Trunk, who she'd demanded back now that the trial was over. She looked peaceful for the first time in weeks. "Sweet dreams, kiddo," he whispered. He was about to close the door when her voice stopped him. "Daddy, yeah. I'm glad you're my forever daddy." Marcus's throat tightened. "I'm glad you're my forever daughter." He closed the door softly and stood in the hallway, letting the tears fall. He'd spent so many years running from love, convinced he didn't deserve it, convinced that anyone who got close to him would end up hurt. But Lily had reached through his walls and found the part of him that still believed in second chances. And for her, he would spend the rest of his life being worthy of that faith. 2 weeks after the custody ruling, Marcus woke to the smell of burning. He bolted out of bed and ran to the kitchen to find Lily standing on a chair waving a spatula at a smoking pan. "I was trying to make you breakfast, Daddy." Marcus grabbed the pan and dropped it in the sink, running cold water over the charred remains of what might have been eggs. "Kiddo, you can't use the stove by yourself. You could get hurt." "But I wanted to surprise you." Lily's lip trembled. "You always make breakfast for me. I wanted to do something nice." Marcus's heart melted. "Come here." He lifted her off the chair and set her on the counter. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever tried to do for me. But next time wake me up and we'll make breakfast together. Deal?" Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. "Deal." "Good." Marcus looked at the ruined pan. "Now how do you feel about cereal? Again, hey, cereal is a perfectly acceptable breakfast." Lily giggled, and just like that, the crisis was over. Rachel had moved into her own apartment the week before. It was small, just 2 rooms in a building not far from Marcus's place, but it was clean and safe. More importantly, it was hers. "Are you sure you're okay here?" Marcus asked, helping her hang curtains. "I'm fine. Better than fine, actually." Rachel smiled. "For the first time in years, I'm not afraid to come home. If you need anything." "I know. You're a phone call away." She touched his arm. "Marcus, you've done enough, more than enough. It's time for me to stand on my own feet." "What about Lily?" "We'll figure out a schedule. Weekends with me, weekdays with you, or whatever works best for her." Rachel's expression grew serious. "She needs stability, routine, and right now you give her that better than I can." Marcus nodded slowly. "I just want what's best for her." "I know you do. That's why I trust you with her." They stood in silence for a moment, 2 people who had hurt each other and been hurt trying to build something new from the wreckage. "We should have done this differently," Marcus said finally. 7 years ago. I should have been there." "You weren't ready?" "No, but that's not an excuse." Rachel took his hand. "Maybe not, but you're here now. That's what matters." The new routine took shape gradually. Marcus walked Lily to school every morning, her hand warm in his. He picked her up every afternoon, listening to her chatter about her day. They did homework together at the kitchen table, ate dinner together every night, and read stories until she fell asleep. It wasn't perfect. Marcus still burned things. He still struggled with math problems that a 6-year-old found easy. He still had moments where he felt completely out of his depth. But he showed up. Every single day. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" They were walking home from school, Lily skipping alongside him. "Sure, kiddo." "My friend Emma says her daddy lives in a different house because her parents got divorced." Lily looked up at him. "Are you and Mommy divorced?" Marcus hesitated. "We were never married, Lily, but you love each other, right?" The question hit him harder than he expected. "I care about your mommy. We both love you more than anything, but sometimes grown-ups can't be together even if they care about each other." Lily was quiet for a moment. "Is it because of what happened before, when you went away?" "Partly. And partly because we're different people now. We've both changed. But you're still my family. Always." Marcus squeezed her hand. "No matter what, we're always your family." Lily nodded, seeming satisfied. "Okay, can we get ice cream?" Marcus laughed. You know, every serious conversation ends with ice cream requests. Is that a yes? That's a yes. The call from Sharon came on a Tuesday afternoon. Marcus, I have news. Dante's trial date has been set. Marcus's grip tightened on the phone. When? Next month. The DA is confident they have a strong case. Multiple witnesses, Rachel's testimony, hospital records. He's looking at 5 to 10 years. Relief flooded through Marcus. So it's finally over. Almost. But Marcus, there's something else. Sharon paused. Dante's been making threats from inside, telling people he's going to get revenge when he gets out. On you, on Rachel, on Lily. Marcus's blood went cold. What kind of threats? Vague, mostly, but enough to be concerning. I've already notified the DA. They're adding witness intimidation to the charges. What do I do? Stay vigilant. Keep your routine varied. And if you see anything suspicious, call me immediately. After he hung up, Marcus sat in silence for a long moment. He'd thought winning custody meant the danger was over, that they could finally move on with their lives. But Dante was like a poison that kept spreading, infecting everything he touched. Daddy, Lily stood in the doorway, her backpack still on. Hey, kiddo, how was school? Good. She tilted her head. You look worried. I'm fine. Well, you're doing that thing with your hands, the squeezy thing. She pointed at his clenched fists. You do that when you're upset. Marcus forced himself to relax. Just grown-up stuff. Nothing for you to worry about. Lily walked over and climbed into his lap. Is it about Dante? How did you know? Because that's the only thing that makes you that kind of worried. She wrapped her arms around his neck. Is he coming back? No, baby girl. He's in jail. He can't hurt us. Promise. Marcus held her tight. I promise. But even as he said it, he wondered if it was a promise he could keep. The school play was announced 2 weeks later. Lily came running out of class, waving a bright yellow flyer. Daddy, Daddy, guess what? What? I got a part in the school play. I'm going to be a fairy. Marcus took the flyer, his chest swelling with pride. That's amazing, kiddo. When is it? Next Friday. Miss Thompson says I have to wear wings and everything. Lily bounced on her heels. Will you come watch me? I wouldn't miss it for the world. Promise, promise. Lily threw her arms around his waist. You're the best daddy ever. The words hit Marcus like a wave, warm and overwhelming. I'm trying, kiddo. I'm really trying. The week before the play, Lily practiced her lines constantly. She had 3, but she took them very seriously, rehearsing in front of the bathroom mirror, in the kitchen, in the living room, anywhere she could find an audience. And then the fairy says, magic lives in those who believe. Lily struck a dramatic pose. How is that perfect? Marcus said. You're going to be the best fairy that school has ever seen. Really? Really? Lily grinned and went back to practicing. Marcus watched her, marveling at the change in her. The scared little girl who'd called him in the middle of the night had transformed into this confident, joyful child. The nightmares had become less frequent. The fear had faded from her eyes. She was healing. They both were. The night of the play arrived faster than Marcus expected. He put on his best shirt, the one without any visible stains, and even attempted to tame his beard. Lily inspected him critically. You look nice, Daddy. Thanks, kiddo. But maybe don't stand too close to the other parents. You're very big. Marcus laughed. I'll try to stay in the back. Rachel met them at the school looking better than she had in months. Her bruises had faded. Her eyes were bright, and she moved without pain. Ready for your big debut? She asked Lily. Ready? Lily hugged them both. I'm going to be the best fairy ever. She ran off to join her class, leaving Marcus and Rachel in the crowded hallway. She's so happy, Rachel said softly. I haven't seen her like this in years. She's a resilient kid. She gets that from you. Marcus shook his head. She gets that from herself. I'm just along for the ride. They found seats near the middle of the auditorium. Parents and grandparents filled the rows around them, cameras and phones at the ready. A few curious glances were thrown Marcus's way, but nobody said anything. Maybe they'd heard his story. Maybe they just saw a father waiting to watch his daughter perform. Either way, he didn't care. He was here for Lily. That was all that mattered. The lights dimmed, the curtain rose, and there she was. Lily appeared on stage in sparkly wings and a purple dress, her face beaming under the lights. She searched the audience until she found Marcus, then gave him a tiny wave. His throat tightened. Tears burned in his eyes. This was what he'd been fighting for. This moment, this child, this chance to be something more than his past. Lily said her lines perfectly. Magic lives in those who believe. Her voice rang out clear and strong, and Marcus could have sworn the whole audience held their breath. When the play ended, the applause was deafening. Marcus clapped harder than anyone, not caring that his hands hurt, not caring that people were staring. His daughter had been magnificent, and he wanted the whole world to know. Lily ran to him after the curtain call, still in her fairy costume. Did you see me, Daddy? Did you see? I saw you. Marcus lifted her up, wings and all. You were incredible. I didn't forget any of my lines, not a single one. And I did the pose just like we practiced. You were perfect, baby girl, absolutely perfect. Rachel joined them, tears streaming down her face. I'm so proud of you, Lily. Did you cry, Mommy? Happy tears. Daddy cried too. I saw him. Marcus didn't even bother denying it. Yeah, kiddo, I cried too. They walked out of the school together, the three of them, like a real family. And that's when Marcus saw him. Dante stood across the parking lot, leaning against a car. His face was twisted with rage, his eyes locked on them. Marcus's blood turned to ice. Rachel, take Lily to the car, and what? Why? She followed his gaze and went pale. Oh, God. Now, go now! Rachel grabbed Lily's hand and hurried toward the parking lot. Marcus stepped forward, putting himself between his family and Dante. You're supposed to be in jail. Dante smiled coldly. Made bail. Again. Expensive lawyers are worth every penny. There's a restraining order. You can't be here. Restraining orders are just paper. Dante pushed off the car and walked closer. You think a piece of paper is going to stop me? Marcus's fists clenched. Stay away from my family. Your family. Dante laughed. They were mine first. Rachel was mine. Lily called me Daddy before she ever knew your name. She was never yours. You were just the monster in her nightmares. Something dark flickered in Dante's eyes. You think you're better than me? You're nothing but a criminal playing dress-up, a killer pretending to be a father. I'm not going to fight you, Dante. Not here, not in front of my daughter. Then I'll make it easy for you. Dante lunged. Marcus saw it coming. Every instinct screamed at him to fight back, to destroy this man who had hurt Rachel, terrorized Lily, and tried to ruin everything they'd built. But he didn't. He sidestepped Dante's wild swing and wrapped him in a restraining hold, pinning his arms behind his back. I could break you in half, Marcus said quietly. And part of me wants to. But I'm not that man anymore. Let go of me. I've got a little girl watching, and she's already seen too much violence in her life. Marcus tightened his grip. So instead of beating you senseless, I'm going to wait for the police, and you're going to go back to jail. And this time, you're going to stay there." Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called 911. Dante struggled, but Marcus held him effortlessly. "This isn't over," Dante spat. "Yeah, it is. You just don't know it yet." The police arrived within minutes. They cuffed Dante and shoved him into the back of a cruiser. He screamed threats the whole way, but Marcus didn't flinch. An officer approached him. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "Witnesses say he attacked you first. Self-defense clear as day." "I didn't hurt him." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Most guys in your position would have." "I'm not most guys." Marcus looked toward the car where Rachel and Lily waited. "Not anymore." Lily ran to him as soon as the police left. "Daddy, are you okay?" He caught her and held her tight. "I'm okay, kiddo. Everything's okay." "I saw Dante. I saw him try to hurt you." Her voice trembled. "But you didn't hurt him back." "No, I didn't." "Why not?" Marcus knelt down to her level. "Because fighting isn't always the answer. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away." Lily thought about this. "Like what you taught me, being brave means doing the right thing even when it's hard. Exactly like that." She hugged him fiercely. "I'm proud of you, Daddy." The words hit Marcus harder than any punch ever had. "I'm proud of you too, baby girl. Always." 1 month later, Dante was convicted. The charges had stacked up: assault witness intimidation, violating a restraining order, attempted assault. The judge sentenced him to 12 years with no possibility of parole. Marcus watched the verdict on the news with Lily beside him. "Is Dante going away forever?" she asked. "For a very long time." "Good." Lily snuggled closer. "He was mean." "Yes, he was." "Daddy, yeah, I don't have nightmares about him anymore." Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. "That's the best news I've heard all day." Spring arrived with a burst of color. Marcus and Lily walked to the park every Saturday morning, a tradition they'd started in the weeks after the custody hearing. She'd run ahead chasing butterflies and climbing on everything she could find, while he watched from a nearby bench. "Daddy, push me on the swings." "Coming, kiddo." He pushed her higher and higher, her laughter ringing out across the playground. Other parents smiled at them. A few even waved. "Higher, Daddy. Higher. Any higher and you'll fly away." "Maybe I want to fly away. And leave me all alone. That doesn't seem fair." Lily giggled. "I'd come back. I'd always come back for you." Marcus felt his heart swell. "Promise, promise." Later they sat on a bench eating ice cream. "Daddy, yeah, kiddo. Remember when you first came, when I called you that night? I remember. I was really scared." "I know, baby girl." Lily licked her ice cream thoughtfully. "I'm not scared anymore." No, because I have you." And she looked up at him with those impossible eyes. "You make me feel safe." Marcus couldn't speak for a moment. "You make me feel safe too, Lily. More than you know." Really. Before you called me, I was lost. I didn't know who I was supposed to be. But you showed me." "What did I show you?" "That I could be someone worth loving." He pulled her close. "That I could be a father. Your father." Lily smiled. "You're not just my father, Daddy. You're my hero." The words wrapped around Marcus's heart and settled there warm and permanent. "I love you, Lily. I love you too, Daddy. Forever and ever. Forever and ever." They sat together in the afternoon sun, father and daughter, watching the world go by. It wasn't a perfect life. Marcus still struggled sometimes. He still had moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments when the old anger threatened to resurface. But every time he looked at Lily, every time she called him Daddy, every time she slipped her small hand into his, he remembered why he'd changed. She was his second chance, his redemption, his reason for being better. And he would spend the rest of his life making sure she knew how much she was loved. That night they sat on the front steps of their apartment building, watching the stars come out. "Daddy, yeah, kiddo, will you always be here?" Marcus looked down at his daughter, at the trust in her eyes, at the love that flowed between them, like an invisible thread. "Always, Lily. Always and forever." She leaned against his arm and sighed with contentment. "Good, because you're stuck with me now." Marcus laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest. "I wouldn't have it any other way." They sat together in peaceful silence, the past behind them, the future stretching out like an endless sky full of possibilities. Marcus Stone had spent 40 years running from love, convinced he didn't deserve it, convinced that anyone who got close would end up hurt. But a scared little girl's voice in the darkness had changed everything. She had called him Daddy. She had trusted him when he didn't trust himself. She had seen the man he could become when all he could see was the man he had been. And in saving her, he had finally saved himself. Because sometimes the people who seem the roughest have the biggest hearts. Sometimes redemption comes in the smallest packages. And sometimes all it takes to change a life forever is a single phone call in the middle of the night and the courage to answer. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please share your favorite part in the comments and tell me where in the world you're watching from. Until next time, take care of each other and remember it's never too late to become the person you were meant to be.